Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, everyone? What's going on, Chip? Man, today is going to be an epic show, as always. So welcome back to everybody that's here with us. We're going to break down what's really happening, what's really happening across crypto, finance, and geopolitics tonight. Ripple expanding tokenization footprint over in Europe. XRP took a major hit, but so did the rest of the crypto market. And is this panic? Or is this an opportunity? We got to break that one down. And Trump's new Middle East peace deal that's shaking the global stage. Big things happening there. Big things happening for Trump. Big things happening around the world. Let's get ready to kick this thing off.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. It's 8:05 p.m.
Cookie Monster
Eastern
Rock.
Standard Time.
Maybe.
Monster Rock.
Maybe. Maybe somewhere, not here.
Someplace it's 8:05. Can it be 8:05 someplace?
Broken clock in your house. It's possible. It's very possible. Sarasota in the house. Gotta like that.
Sarasota.
Oh, 8:05 somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the streams are starting up everywhere. Everyone's getting logged in as we speak. So good stuff today. Man, not so good over there.
That's the beauty. Yeah. I don't have to fix my hair anymore. It stays the same all day long. I don't have to mess with it. It's not down to here anymore. I don't need to worry about it. It's usually, pain in the ass. No, it's super easy. Super easy.
Me too. It's not always that easy though.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening,
people. Good evening, people. Good evening. Yeah, we'll start out with
so what's first on the agenda? We're gonna dive in head first right into crypto because there's a lot of stuff going on in crypto.
Yeah, it's been kind of quiet. Just a lot of liquidations going on. Look, if you mess around with leverage, look, you kind of F around and find out, right? I mean, if you're gonna mess with leverage, you're gonna get burned at some point. Everybody does. Yeah, those few exceptions when you do great, but man, I can't believe the liquidations that happen. And it is interesting. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but I think too, it's interesting that Trump comes out and says 100% tariffs on China. And today he basically called it off. Mm-hmm. So, it's called negotiation, people. And so who reacted to that news? What kind of people reacted to that news when the rest of us people, Jeff, know exactly what that was all about? A negotiation tactic, right? A negotiation technique, but the dumb people, and I think we know which side they're on. These are the people that reacted. These are the people that started freaking out. These are the people that caused the liquidation, because the rest of us just went, okay, that's an anomaly. Wow, that's interesting. We sat back and watched it happen. Meanwhile, Panicville sit in everywhere else. So who actually caused this meltdown? I mean, the people I talked to, Jeff,
it ends up being an emotional sell.
An emotional sell.
Emotional.
Yep. Over news that means nothing. And if you haven't seen enough of Trump since 2016, 9 years of how he operates, then you got bigger problems. You got bigger problems you need to check and figure out what's going on. Because if you don't understand how it works by now, and most of the people on that other side just don't know how it works because they are emotionally driven. They aren't driven by logic or reason. They're driven by emotions and how they feel and how they can make up stuff. And these are the same side that believes that a man can be a woman and men can have babies. I mean, when Apple, one of the woke companies, can put out an emoji of a pregnant man that looks remarkably like Bill Gates, by the way, you have to really wonder what is going on. I mean, what are we doing anymore? Like, what is there anybody to sort of check and see what's happening anymore? So I looked at that and I was like, I mostly just slept through it. When I say I slept through it, wasn't I slept through it? I saw it happening, but it's like, no big deal. This is how the markets work. They go, there's going to be flash crashes. But the panic, Jeff, was just, it was next level. The people, and I looked at X and I looked at other socials and I'm like, what is wrong with people? Over this news, 100% tariff on a Chinese, dictatorship, communist government. This is what you're worried about? This is what's going to cause you to panic? Man, I just don't know. There were the experts out there that said the tariffs won't work. The CBO, remember the CBO scored it and said, oh my God, it's going to add more money to our debt. Well, they had to suck it up because they
Yeah.
had to come back and
Oh, yeah.
say, "Huh, yeah, I guess it's working. I guess I was wrong about that." So this whole thing is just absolutely ridiculous to me. But look, you kind of got what you deserve. Hate to say it, man. It's sad. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people, good people, got caught up in it. But again, don't be stupid. Don't leverage. Don't use leverage. How many times have you heard that from the real influencers, from the real people, the real voices around crypto? Don't use leverage.
Right. And unfortunately, what happens? People keep leveraging, and it. There's kind of a sense, depending on the platform. There's a layer of trust that that they try to extend. Right. They want to be trusted. People want to then trust them. Then there's the whole the FOMO. People feel like they're actually missing out on some extra leveraged yield or something, and it's just extremely kind of a complex situation from a mental emotional state. And people kind of naturally gravitate to wanting to capture that extra investment. Now, the other side of it, the panic, the emotional panic, obviously they start spreading FUD, and and then it's the other way around. And in many cases, there's purpose behind pushing people into getting that emotional state for liquidation. And you'll actually see a lot of that play out on mainstream media. Especially like you take a show like the Jim Cramer show. When he's talking about stock investment, it's typically too late because the numbers have already inflated.
Yeah.
When it hits mainstream media and they start talking about it and people get excited about it, there might still be more momentum to certain stocks, and you got to do your own research. But people a lot of times don't do their research, and then he'll issue a sell alert, and then people start panicking. Or just mainstream somewhere behind the scenes, they're issuing a sell or a buy alert, and the institutions want retail to buy at high value, and they want them to sell and push the market lower, and they want the bag holders, so they want people to buy high, and then they want them, they want to reverse course and, start creating panic. So the stock prices drop down, and they want to buy it at discounted pricing. And unfortunately, people keep buying at highly inflated prices beyond the point of value, for certain stocks, and that just kind of plays out over and over and over again. And if you look at kind of the penny stock markets, OTC,
Sucks.
like over the counter and things like that, you can draw a comparative in many times to crypto that is based on, you don't have a lot of substance behind the buys and sells, right? It's just going to be FOMO or FUD driven. And if you have, if you have kind of a lower volume, obviously there's going to be more impact to those buys and sells versus higher volume. But it amazes me because, we're seeing this trend. XRP, kind of crashed down, Bitcoin crashed down, but I don't know why people panic over it. If they've been in crypto for the past X number of years and we've seen highs and lows, if we go back to 2017, 18, when Bitcoin first hit 20,000, and then there was a pullback to 3,000, people should have been panicked out of their mind at that point. But now if you are leveraged, that's a whole different story, because you're going to get, leveraged right out, and there goes your asset. And that's
Your ass.
your asset.
I saw
And
you. I
that's
see
been the
what you did
trend.
there. I see what
Yeah,
you
you
did
see what I did, right?
there.
You get,
Ass.
and we've seen it too many times. I don't know, Chip. I'm super nervous in the crypto space to try to apply traditional financial product within the crypto space, because it's still so dictated, and there's too big of swings
Yeah.
where you can get leveraged out. I mean, you can get smashed, get
Well,
your
it's
ass
always,
handed to you. It's
yeah. And then, and then just the part that always kills me too is like when it comes to price. Let's just take one digital asset like XRP, right? I'm looking at the price right now. The current price of it is 254. It was 230
right.
something earlier, last time I checked. and then it'll go to 270 and people will be writing boom and we're killing. I'm like, listen, man, and when it crosses $4, wake me up, because everything we've already hit means nothing. So unless you cross an all-time high, who cares? That's how I feel about it. I'm like, who really cares? It hit $3.20. Boom. Oh my gosh, we're going to the moon. Okay, well, when it hits $4, let's take a look at that and say, wow, we're in new territory. We've never been here before. Yeah, we've crossed the last all-time high, but so what? It's meaningless in today's market where we are. It means almost nothing. Some good comments right here. Chad says, say hi to Bob. What's going on, Bob? I was told to bring a friend. Thank you.
What's up, Bob?
Bob, good to have you join us tonight.
Chad
really
plays by
that.
the rules.
Yeah, Chad's he's paying attention. He got the assignment last time. He executed. Got to like that. Chad also says that was a well-planned attack. Just saying the attack equals a liquidity sweep. Joe Buddy says hundreds of billions and it's gone.
And it's gone. Billions.
Not gone, just elsewhere.
Yeah,
right.
right.
Good afternoon from New Zealand. Ray the Musk. Beautiful to see you.
Ray the Musk.
Yeti in there already. XRP Plumbing checking in. How you doing?
Like Johnny Picks.
Johnny Picks. Same will happen. XRP once it gets to 10, it'll go back down to 3. Asset is too young. Yeah, 100%. And then people will be panic mode. It'll be freaking out. And so, if you've been around more than like a couple of years, you kind of understand how it works. But just right, even like TA, to me, it's a little bit dangerous because you're taking a legacy, and I know blockchain backer took a lot of grief because he basically converted all his stuff over to, he saw something in the potential. I don't know if he saw something. I don't know if it was a gut feeling. But he got so much heat for basically converting everything to cash, whether it's stable coins or whatever, but basically liquidated. And then when that flash crash hit, everybody was like, you knew something. A lot of people paid attention and they did something similar and were able to buy back in at a better thing. And other people just, say, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot or this or that. And when you put yourself out there and you are being transparent and people are looking for your opinion, yeah, 50% of the people are going to like it. 50% of the people are not going to like it, But but the attacks on blockchain backer, the personal attacks, were just over the top. You want to say something about their professional opinion, great, but don't attack somebody personally. When they're just giving their opinion, they make a living at doing this, making their opinion. You tune in because you want to hear their opinion, but when their opinion says something you don't like, then you're like, well, I don't like that opinion. Okay, well then don't like it. But I didn't like all the personal attacks that came at them, and I thought it was a little bit too much. It was a little bit over the top, if I have to say so. But anyway, let's get started here. Let's go to this right here. Cassie Craddock. She is the UK CEO and Managing Director, UK and Europe for Ripple. And she said that last week, Roundtable was a great opportunity for us to discuss the current state of digital asset landscape and its competitiveness here in Europe. Mika, which you'll remember, that was basically went into full effect I think it was December of 2024. That's the market in crypto assets. It was the European Union regulation that basically took everything and looked at it as a kind of a uniform, comprehensive framework that happened back in the day. And she's basically talking about Mika gave European banks and financial institutions the confidence to lean into the industry. And as a result, we now have lots of banks and financial institutions such as Societe Generale, which is that's a bank in Spain, it looks like, and BBVA building out a digital asset custody and tokenization capabilities, working with crypto natives like Ripple. But then there are many barriers to remain fulfilled to actually go to the full potential. This benefits speak directly to the goals and savings of investment union, including lowering costs, improving efficiencies in EU businesses. Can't read tonight, Jeff. What's going on? And broadening access to financial and investment opportunities. Other jurisdictions around the world are leaning heavily into this technology. So for the EU to build competitiveness, it needs to move fast and keep up with the momentum. So we're really excited about the opportunities for the blockchain industry here in Europe. We're very keen to play our part in building the future of what, Jeff? Tokenization. There it is. So here
Tokenization.
You go.
There we go.
Here you have it right there. So you immediately see two people that you recognize. There's Stu Alderati from Ripple and Casey Craddock. And who are the other folks there? Who else is there? I don't even know. There's a whole bunch of people. Did you? I guess that's just zoom in on the 4 right there. So you've got, yeah, that's the whole panel itself. But it's good that they're having these conversations. I think it's good that this stuff is being chatted about and talked about. Mika unlocking Bank XRP said Mika unlocking real mentor blockchain in Europe. Kudos to Ripple for bridging regulators and innovators, breaking down those barriers, could supercharge the EU's savings union. Imagine tokenized assets democratizing access for millions. And this is really the opportunity at hand, Jeff, that where we can kind of get to. But talk is nice. I mean, the one thing I like about Mika is it's not perfect, but at least they were, they passed it I think it went into effect on this last year, December, almost a year ago, in full effect. I think they had pieces of it before that. But if you think about it, they're doing the right. It's good to see that in a lot of ways, Europe is far ahead of what's going on here in the States. They're sitting there, I mean, they're squabbling over dumb stuff. They can't even, the government shut down over here. Why? Because it's something called the Federal Reserve. It's not federal, and there is no reserve. It is a third-party shakedown hustler entity, which basically lends the United States money that the United States has to pay, interest to. Why? Why are we doing this? Why did everyone think, why since 1913 are we all sitting around pretending that this was a good idea when the first two federal, central banks were deleted? So to me, Trump's biggest achievement is to come is getting rid of the Fed, because it's got to go. You can't sustain the amount of debt that's being incurred. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. You have an entity that is basically a hustler organization that's never been audited, and people are like, oh, I guess that's okay. Meanwhile, every company is put to the scrutiny and get the thumb screws in them every quarter on their SEC reporting. And if something's out of hand, they get fined. If something grave goes wrong, they can be more than fined. People can be jailed. Every 3 months, they are up to the scrutiny. A public company has to go through this stuff. Yet, the Federal Reserve since 1913, I guess they're doing the right thing, Jeff. We'll just assume that everything's okay. Ever been audited? Nope. Where's all that money going? Nope. Have they just pushed buttons and given money elsewhere? Nobody knows. What's the real balance sheet look like?
Nobody has any idea.
They give it to us. Is it the real one? Audit them. They will be shut down like that.
Right.
And you ever notice it never gets to an audit?
Never.
People talk to it. I mean, Massey, who I'm not a big fan of. Okay, I'm not a big fan of him, but I will give him credit for putting together a bill that talks about auditing the Fed. Where is it? Did it go to a floor vote? No. Does it ever go to a floor vote? No. A lot of talk, a lot of chatter, but you see how powerful these entities are. They can ruin you if you speak out against it. That's why Republicans got to come together and do the right thing, get rid of this. It's a hustle.
Well, they've got to. Yeah, there's so much that's going into this behind the scenes from a political manipulative perspective, power struggle perspective. People don't even know, who the entities really are behind the Federal Reserve. So there's so many, interconnect there that obviously, getting them to relinquish the power hold that they have, it's going to take, somebody strong. You need strong leadership. You need to take a President Trump with, a strong team around him that can then finally say, look, we're going to audit and we're going to start taking that power away. And that's number one, so we got to make sure that, what is he saying? The Fed will never be audited. They will shut the Fed down, rename it something else, and business as usual. I think, we could get pretty close to having a shutdown. Obviously things would need to happen, and there have, some key pieces moved into place from a financial perspective. What are you going to do at this point if they're controlling it? What's the entity that would step in to take over in the interim? So that, it's a good question. I really think that's interesting. Do they audit? Do they shut down? If they shut down, what replaces it exactly?
Yeah, well, this is one of the greatest powers of the House of Representatives is the ability to authorize coining of money, right? The money supply. And they sold a bill of goods in 1913. It never was corrected in over 100 years. And the one person that can possibly do it, or at least, pull that into Treasury, figure another way out, because I have a feeling if they're pressing a button and making money go, where are some of the other money that they're sending to things? What's going out the back door? What kind of other financing is happening? It's easy to hide. Never been audited. You can send it anywhere. No one's going to know. You can make up all kinds of money and enter in the supply and devalue the dollar even further. So I wouldn't trust anything that's going on with that, with the Fed. I mean, it's really ridiculous. XRP Plumbing says it's the same owners there that will be no awning, give control of countries' money. I could care less who makes the rules. The IRS is the Fed, the Bulldogs. Yeah, well, I think that's all that has to change too. Now, one of the things that, if you look at the tariffs, it's interesting because one of the programs that got hit is a program for impoverished mothers which do not have the money. They got kids, they need to feed the kids. There's a program, I think WIC is one of them, that was hit hard with the government shutdown, meaning they can't get formula or food for their kids. One of the things Trump said is, hey, we got money coming in from tariffs. We don't need the Federal Reserve. We don't need to borrow the money. There's no borrowing the money. We're going to simply take this money here from the external revenue that's coming in, and then we're just going to place it and put it over here. The other thing he came out and said, we're trying to find ways to pay the soldiers, because you got the different branches of the government. They're out defending. You have ICE. Guess what? They repurpose the money. So in a weird way, this is a great display of how the tariff has its own money supply. And for the first time since 1913, by the way, tariffs is what used to fund the U.S. government. For the very first time, you've got this new money source. Don't need the Federal Reserve. And that should panic a lot of people, because he's basically showing people what could possibly happen.
Right. That they can keep the government open, the important branches, without it, which is really key. Johnny Picks was saying, will ETFs normalize price stability in crypto? I think ETFs are a component of normalizing price stability in crypto. The reason why it's a part of it is because it's attracting more volume. The more volume you have, the potential more stability you have, because then it takes more sell-off volume to impact price moves. All right. So if we can get significant trade volume, more mainstream adoption, more stability, there's other component that has to go with that. And I believe that Chad brought that up, which is the Clarity Act. So there's some regulatory component that have to happen that will also facilitate not just more investment from Main Street adoption perspective, but also more development within the crypto space, more actual utility of it. So even if we have ETFs, because we've had ETFs now for Bitcoin for a while, yet you still see massive swings in Bitcoin, yet there's still ETFs. So that's a part of it. Now, if you start orchestrating if you get some regulatory clarity, we see more key development. We see more companies utilizing whatever the technology might be, whether it's payment systems or beyond. Now, all of a sudden, the building stimulates more actual utility. More utility, obviously, is going to also then stimulate price moves. Now, if it's more if it's more utility, a stable coin within the payment space, and you have rails, I don't want to get into that. I just think there's more component than just ETF, I guess is the point. Just kind of a long-winded answer. But what are your thoughts on that, Chip?
Well, I think the sheer volume of ETFs is going to be great. I do think that, like you said, it will be a component. But if you look at a lot of what really drove the Bitcoin price up, a lot of the experts have said the ETFs are what really helped, because I think it was something like 60 to 70% of the volume was being created in Bitcoin was being created by ETFs. And when people buy, when you're buying into an ETF, especially now, I think the game's going to change once again, only because now there's legislation in place where, if you had your 401k here in the States, which is basically like a retirement type of account, you put money into it. Usually your employer will match a portion of that. You put that into a 401k type of scenario. If you had companies like Fidelity and these big organizations that your funds that you could pick from were limited. Now you can have ETFs in there, which is really going to be great. So it's not just necessarily the ETFs, but the fact that a lot of this money can now, because it would always be the thing, call it Fidelity. You guys offer crypto? No, we don't offer crypto yet. You know, I remember a bank going to Chase, you guys offer crypto? You know, you're going to offer it soon. I had that conversation with my banker, like, hey, remember when you told me it'll take about 2 years to go through? And you remember the next week they made the announcement? He goes, yeah, I thought about you when that went through. I said, it's coming sooner than you think. And the ETFs itself, you know, what it's going to do is it's going to create a lot more awareness. But again, it's very different than buying crypto and holding it, right? So it's just taking money and moving into it. But I think at some point there was something between 17 and 20, some just in the either whether XRP was going to become a basket, a portion of it, or their own ETFs. But like Jeff said, I mean, the XRP has been part of, you know, some ETFs in itself, but I think it's going to be good for the entire industry. More of this is where we want to go. This is the way that, you know, we talk about Main Street adoption. I hear somebody passing by over there, and you get a crisp off. Heard a motorcycle or something go by. Anyway,
The crisp is off.
I think it's good for the it's good for everybody overall, and it's heading the right direction. I think it's very strong. It's a very strong sign, and you're going to see a lot of people come into it. And again, they don't have to worry about having a cold storage wallet, this and that. They're going to be a basket of ones they're going to be able to choose from. You know, you go and look at your 401k, your performance, you know, like I was looking at mine, it was like 11.5% last quarter. The previous quarter wasn't that good, but it's also going to be more volatile too. So you're going to have the stomach for it. If you have some bigger swings, maybe your gains will be a little bit more, you know, all over the place. So ultimately, I think it's really good for the market, and it's a great thing. But like Chad said before, is you got to have some legislation in place. The Clarity Act has to go through. Now you see the Democrats; they've always been anti-crypto. The party of censorship and control and centralization. It's never going to be for allowing the people, because they'll tell you that you're not smart enough to figure out what you're just not smart enough. We're the smart ones. We're going to tell you. Isn't that how it always goes, Jeff? There's the smartest bunch on the planet. This was an article that I saw floating around. And the cool thing was, this is in Bitcoin.com. It was in there. And it talks about Ripple sees strong opportunities in Europe, expanding tokenization market. Europe's rapidly becoming a global powerhouse in digital assets as regulatory clarity fuels a surge in blockchain bank partnerships and institutional momentum. Hang on a second. Growing collaboration between finance and blockchain firms like Ripple is driving Europe's momentum in digital assets. Ripple's managing director for the UK and Europe, Casey Craddock, detailed in a social media platform on X on October 10th that the European Union's markets and crypto regulation, which is the MiCA, has strengthened institutional confidence in blockchain integration. Again, all very, very positive signs. MiCA gave European banks and financial institutions the confidence to lean into the industry, Craddock said. She said, as a result, we're now seeing lots of banks, financial institutions, kind of what we just read before. But this is a good sign, because you look at articles like this that are getting picked up in Bitcoin.com. They're highlighting what's happening in the tokenization side. And the funny thing is, you know, Ripple is riding that wave of what's happening. So this story that Casey Craddock put out that thread on X, this is basically what it's all about. I mean, so I think this kind of stuff is good. People think, well, Bitcoin.com, it's all about Bitcoin 24/7. It's not. They do a good job of covering other things that are happening in the market, but it's also very positive for everybody. No, there's so much winning that goes on that can be basically shared across, the whole entire crypto industry at large. You don't look at like individual, like, well, Cardano's doing this and so on. That, yeah, it's great for the industry. Anything that can push it forward. We're talking about tokenization. There's going to be a lot of that going on. It's not going to be one or two or three companies that are going to do it. It's going to be tens, maybe, hundreds of them doing it. And that's how big it is. There's enough for everybody.
Definitely enough for everybody. And that's the other point. I like that. I think the more companies you have doing the same thing solidifies the point that whatever they're doing is on the correct path. If only one person does it, only one question does it, or only one company does it, then you have to ask, are you really on the right path? Is this, it just solidifies the nature of whatever you're building towards. So, and the competition is healthy. I mean, if we look around within most categories, there's multiple companies doing the exact same thing. right? I mean, normally there could be the one that paves the way. They might pave the way for a while. Maybe they had a patent or whatever it is. Maybe the patent expires, or somebody kind of duplicates the process and creates something else. Imagine if you only had, one phone and that's it. Apple was the only. What would motivate Apple to make their phone better, to come out with new technologies if it was only Apple? Apple could do it, but if there was no Motorola before Apple, maybe Apple would never have created a phone. Maybe there would be no purpose or need. But then from Apple, and then you've got, I mean, now it's crazy how it's really narrowed down at this point. It's basically Google or Samsung and Apple, and there's other brands. It's not just Samsung. There's others out there, but really we've narrowed down the scope of the OS from an operating system perspective. Microsoft lost out, BlackBerry lost out, and there were a couple others that tried developing OS, and we narrowed down to two. But I think we could kind of go around. Motorola makes, there's others making hardware, but how many of them are making operating system? Which is kind of goes back to, I guess in some categories it does get pretty narrow, but in order to perfect and get better, sometimes if it's so narrow, they end up getting replaced with a different technology. I don't know. That's kind of,
I have to say,
dig
Jeff,
into that a little bit.
you kind of like took me down a rabbit hole, but I have to say, that Google put out a brilliant commercial, and I can't play the song because it's we'll get hit with a copyright strike. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna play some of this. Obviously, Sugar Town by Nancy Sinatra. We can't play that, so I'm gonna have it. But watch this commercial, and I had a laugh because this was so spot on, and it's a really well done commercial. Here's a woman pulling out an ice cream cone, a vanilla ice cream cone, out of her purse, and the kids are like, "Oh my gosh! Well, wait, he's looking around. Where is it? Up there it is, right there. There's his vanilla. Got the guys running with his vanilla ice cream." And basically, the vanilla is the phone, right? The phone, and they're like taking a selfie with one. They're looking at the vanilla ice cream. Look at this, look at posting on social. This is it right here, Jeff. This is the punch in the face right here. You see the Vanilla Pro? There it is. Now check this out, Jeff. The all new Vanilla Pro. Now, if that isn't a punch in the face to Apple, I don't know what is. If there's no, I mean, their new thing is called Vanilla, but it seems to me like there's some tongue-in-cheek happening here, because this is what Apple does. Apple has the whatever, and then they have the all-new whatever, and the all-new live forever is exactly like the old one. And after this last update, Tim Cook should absolutely resign, because all he does is manage the past. He doesn't manage innovation in the future. And that's why I'm not a big fan of Tim Cook, because he's just he's a complete clown. He's an absolute clown. They're
kind of ruined the tech.
He ruined the tech. Apple had a AI program that they launched a couple years ago. They couldn't get anything done. I mean, all you have to do, they got billions of dollars. You just buy other companies. They couldn't even buy. They were talking about buying Perplexity. They didn't get that done. So you just have somebody who's managing what happened in the past, versus like a Steve Jobs who's managing and anticipating what would come in the future. And that's one of the reasons that Apple, yeah, sure, they're making money, selling more of the same garbage. The updates are weak. There's no new innovation. You got a guy like Johnny Ive leaves during Tim Cook's tenure, the greatest designer of this century and probably last. And he goes off and launches his own company, doesn't even make $1 in that company, gets bought out for over $1 billion. This is how it's done. It's innovation. But if you're not innovating, you're dying. And if you're not AI, it's AI or die. You're either gonna I've been having some online kind of back and forth with some people who are traditionalists talking about plagiarization. You plagiarized. No, AI. If you understand how large language models work and diffusion works, it's trained on all these images, but it's not taking and recreating what's already been done. It's learning from the same way we learn as a musician. Oh, that's derivative of the Beatles. Oh, that's derivative of this. That sounds a little bit like that. Because you're taking that, you're filtering it through your filter, and you're creating something new based on your influence, based on same thing with movies. But if you're going to stick to this old thing of like, oh, we got to have real actors and you're going to be left behind. If you don't adapt, you're going to basically die. So this was, I want to pull this thread up here, Jeff. This is Dark Horse, who is in the XRP community here. He says, Let's be, and I gotta get your take on this, Jeff. Let's be totally honest. The real fear, which is hidden behind the digital identity card, is carbon tax. That's the main real fear here. Being identified for jaywalking or driving with a mobile phone, being caught on camera and instantly fined is already here. Let's strip the fear away from something that already exists and target the real issue, being taxed for our carbon usage on a daily use. That's because what I worry about, that's what I worry about too. The digital ID card, I carry a driver's license, medical card, and passport, so what? It's the carbon tax and extra capability the government can tax you on. That's the new fear. There used to be the joke, they tax everything. What's next? The air we breathe? Well, we gave them long enough, and instead of they flipped it, it's how much damage the air we breathe. I'd suggest an aim in the effort and energy in the new tax system they want to bring in. And if you're so worried about CBDCs, why is everybody welcoming stablecoins, which do the exact same thing now? Make that make sense. Let's be honest, stablecoins do not have programmability features. They are not the same as CBDCs. Jeff, first of all, that right there, CBDCs are not the same as a stablecoin. That's all a stablecoin is. It's a one-to-one equivalent.
Right, exactly. I mean, I guess you could call, a CBDC essentially would be a potential stable coin. It would be one for one. It would be the digital representation of the one thing that we can't trust, and it's been brought up over and over, even in high level government discussion, is privacy and programmability, and you have to leave that part out. Now, if CBDC, a central bank digital currency, has the full capability of programmability, so there is definitely, that's where the distinction is. So obviously that part will make sense, even if you do have stablecoin and it's coming from, let's say, an RLUSD, or maybe it's the PayPal version of it. You're using that stablecoin. The government can't utilize that and cut off your access and automatically drain your account. They could get a court order, and really that's how it has to be, regardless. If for whatever reason there was a court order to your bank, or a court order for whatever, there has to still, the legal confines still apply. However, what we have witnessed in countries like Canada or elsewhere, where they immediately shut down access to banking and credit cards and things like that for people that were donating to the truckers. They give $50 to the truckers. All of a sudden you have no access to your bank accounts or your credit cards. Now talk about a government that's so terrified of its citizenry doing what they know is right on the citizen side, to say, look, our government has overreached, has become overzealous, and is now stomping on our rights. And so the citizenry stand up, and the government's response isn't to say, okay, we have freedom of speech and assembly, but instead they decided they wanted to shut them down. So there's just too many, crazy component to that, where we can't necessarily trust how the government operates in that regard. Look at Mo Meta is saying new law in Australia just passed for drinking water while driving. So
what is up with that?
How the chaos, Australia, England, Canada, all these other English speaking countries, but it's New Zealand, are going down a path of insanity. Mainly because they have a parliamentary form of government. They don't have a constitution, and they're not a republic similar to the United States. Maybe they should take a note from our history and say, hey, those guys are onto something. And Chip, I think you were saying that the other day. It's like 250 years, but yeah, it hasn't worked. Obviously it's worked from a financial perspective. It's worked from a freedom perspective. Obviously your countries are overridden with people coming in because the government is bringing them in and importing them in. In this country, similar things have happened, but for the most part, people come to the United States from all over the world, from every country. They come here from England, from New Zealand, from Australia, from every part of Africa, from every part of the Middle East, every part of Latin America, and every part of Asia. People come to the United States because historically, this has been the place to live the American dream and build and basically accomplish anything you want. What we see also here is that we have a constitution that protects the people and tells the government what their limitations are and what they can't do. Every one of those other countries don't have a similar thing in place.
Wasn't written by the
we're
people.
seeing an overzealous government. It wasn't written by the people. And we see overzealous governments, which why you need to fear a CBDC.
Mometa says agree. What's a guy with no aircon supposed to do? It's just, you know, honestly, if we were like here 5 years ago, which we were.
Why can't you drink water in your car?
Well, I guess while you're driving, you're not allowed to drink it because maybe it'll distract you or something. Who knows? I mean, I know there are states too. You're not allowed to be. You're not allowed to be on your phone. You can if your phone you can't hold your phone. If your phone is like on one of those holders, you can touch it, but it's when you have it in your hand. You can't do that. Like it's just a whole bunch of these rules and what you can do, what you can't do. I just find it to be incredibly. If you saw that with Mometa put up on drinking water, you would have laughed. Even 2 years ago, you'd be like, okay, come on. This is not that. They're never going to do that. And now it's become, it seems like every day there's something new where you're like, oh, that won't happen. And then it happens. You're like, oh, that won't happen. And then it happens. You're like, well, how far do you go? And one of the things that I wanted to get to here is I answered,
how about coffee, Chip? Can you drink coffee?
I would drink coffee anytime if you can't. Drink some coffee.
They say no water. They say no water.
So I think it's probably a liquid, but and I was saying, responding to the Dark Horse, I get your point about the carbon taxes, and yes, governments are always looking for new ways to tax things, but that's not the real danger of digital IDs. The carbon tax is only one possible use case, but the bigger issue is what unified digital identity system actually enables once it exists. A carbon tax affects your wallet. A centralized digital ID affects your freedom. So when your banking, healthcare, travel, communications, and even social media accounts are connected to one government-controlled ID, the people running the system can decide who gets access and who does not, and that's entirely different kind of controls. So right now, if you lose your driver's license, you can still buy groceries, book a flight, move your money. Under a digital ID, your account is suspended for any reason, political opinion, maybe you said something you shouldn't have said, maybe it was a glitch in the system, a government error. You basically can get locked out of everyday life. That's what's already happening in some parts of the world, like China. They already have this social credit scored. And we played that clip of where people were sleeping on streets. They're in their 20s. Why? Because they were canceled from their job. They can't exist in the world because they don't have a social score high enough. CBDCs are centralized by design, and the government controls the ledger, the access, the terms. The digital ID is the mechanism that ties all that control together. So yeah, carbon taxes may be frustrating, but the digital ID is a far bigger concern. It's not about how much carbon you use, about who gets to decide how you live, and it also affects your freedom. So Dark Horse basically put this up, which is, he said, so digital driving licenses are being created as we speak from the DVLA, when we already have these in apps in the UK, already use an ID when logging in. Please tell me again how we will not comply to a card that stops them from merging already available services in one app under one roof. The scaremongering is getting out of hand now. Credit score apps are widely available for everyone. So Tormented Darkness says, well, that's all well and good, but we don't want this becoming a social credit system, which is exactly what they're planning to do. I, for one, will not comply. I honestly believe we are edging very close to a mass civil uprising, possibly a war. He says, oh, okay, so it's not the card, it's the social score. There's so much wrong with this. It's all digital. It's all vulnerable. They've not talked about using blockchain to secure it. It's going to be a target. They haven't even talked about our digital rights. And that's before you consider all the possible ramifications of it, all the many ways it could be misused. Look at the 90s with the phone. We could envision having mini computers in our pockets. AMD phones having a camera. I'm sure there'll be horrors that we haven't even thought of, but that's assuming our government can even keep it secure. So that's so he just goes on to say, so what you have basically going on here is somebody who says, well, it's already digital, it's already done, this is just the next evolutionary piece, and that's kind of how it's going to be. And I just put this up. This is kind of how it works. It's the easy button, Jeff. That was easy. I will comply. That was it. Just throw in the towel. Well, it's already digital. Well, they're just going to unify what's already there. Yeah, but the difference is how it's going to affect you. He says, I just don't care. I don't do anything that the government would care about. And in truth, we already have complied. if you ran a business and had HR system, birth certificates, national insurance cards, medical system, medical driving asset system, DVLA, driving license, housing, land registry, tax system, HMRC, company public pay system, travel system, passport, security system, police records. You're telling me they don't have these joined together already? In America, I don't know if you have the pay systems, pay as you earn. So, they link this to your job and your wages for tax to pay. I shall not comply is irrelevant. We already have complied. So he's making a certain good point there. He's kind of right that nobody balked at anything else being digital. But the point is that when the government starts picking winners and losers, and you're on the losing side, he says that he doesn't say anything now that this is the thing. Well, I don't do anything wrong. Well, you never can speak up. They track everything, your social post, everything you're doing, because that's the other component, that digital ID. They'll know your social. Right now, they got to do a little bit of work. They got to figure out who you are, even if you have a handle that's anonymous. Well, it's all out there. They can find your records. But when they tie it all together, now they can audit. Now they can shut you down. They're not shutting you down if you get in an accident or something like that, or somewhere along the lines. They're not doing it right now. Is the point I made, is that you can still go through life not having to comply. But this is it. This is what happens when you roll over, and this is what failure looks like. This is what happens when you basically say, I don't care, it's already digital anyway. Well, I'm sure they're going to be okay. I'm sure it's going to be all right. Well, good luck. Good luck, because we've learned from history that it doesn't work like that.
That's right.
What are your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Can you hear me?
Your mic is weird. No, I don't hear you at all. Damn it.
How about now?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, perfect. Crisp. Damn.
Fucking crisp. Crisp sucks.
But now it's doing that thing where it's delayed.
Worked. And now it's delayed.
I'm seeing you say something and your lips don't move for like 4 or 5 seconds. So I don't know what that's all about.
Between StreamYard and this one, let me see.
There's something going on.
1, 2. I don't know. All right, we got a song coming.
Should be right. Driver distraction, eating, drinking, smoking prohibited. Yeah, they're gonna get into everything. If they're already controlling, you get people. I mean, a man attacked a 16-year-old girl. He got less time. He got half the time in jail than the 3 men whose parents who stood up and said this is not right. They called it out and said this is ridiculous. They got 3 years in jail.
Audio.
Which is cool, but I'm sure the digital ID is going to work out fine. Yeah, for perfect. You're fine.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. So first and foremost, we got 2 things that we got to cover. Number 1 is, who's the show sponsored by today?
I'm going to go with Badass. I'm going to go with Badassery Coffee, is it?
$5 for a latte. Half of that feeds some hipster's avocado toast habit paired with an oat milk manifesto. Quit financing coffee fads you don't need. It's time to rebel. Your badass great-grandpa had only one tin cup and brewed his coffee over an open fire. We roast to order, ship free, and keep every bean bold enough to wake the dead, or at least your 9 a.m. meeting. We make coffee that punches Mondays in the face. Badassery Coffee. Fresh, fierce, fucking great. Roasted fresh, shipped free. Chaos pending. Order now at badasserycoffee.com. badasserycoffee.com.
There you go. Badassery Coffee, baby.
It's
still bad. We rebranded it. So Badass Yetis Coffee still works.com, but as this week, it's going to become Badassery Coffee, and it's going to go to our larger name, Badassery, which will be the sort of the parent. It'll allow us to do be very, very flexible on what we can roll out, because everything fits under the Badassery brand. Because I see Badassery whiskey somewhere down the road, Jeff. It'd be great to have a Badassery, so we'll have coffee, just the stuff we like, our coffee,
all sorts of
bourbon. Maybe we'll have to get an Irish one in there, an Irish whiskey. Fantastic. T-shirts. It's fantastic.
That's right. It is fantastic. A good old 6 a.m.
Go F yourself to any other coffee company besides Badassery Coffee.
Oh, it's
she laughs. She likes it.
Is that what that?
Badass coffee commercial. So badass. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, we
so badass. That's it.
Yeah, there'll be more of that. I mean, that's the brand, and my wife said, "Can you say that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's our brand. We can say anything we want." Can you say the F word? I was like, yeah, you just did. That's her tagline. If you go on there.
It's right there.
She's like, can you,
It's on the website and it's on the ad.
I was like, yeah, you can absolutely say that, and we just did. And it's been on the website here forever. Is it any good? Nah, that's been great, man. Hell yeah. So right now it says Badass Yetis, but it's gonna become Badassery Coffee, and then this will still work. This URL, BadassYetisCoffee.com. Yeah. I'll go put this on there. But if you guys have never had roast to order coffee, you got to try this. I really appreciate everybody that has tried it, and they repeat. So that's how we can tell if it's good. They come back. If it's not good, you never hear from them again. So it's good to see. Thank you for all of our, of the people who support it and come back for more. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but again, it's roasting to order. Your order comes in, it gets roasted, it goes out the next day. You're getting beans that have been roasted within a couple days, and the shipping's free inside the U.S.
Open the bag and eat them.
Yeah,
that's it. That's right. And now for an epic song. No, this song's a little bit longer. So just kind of bear with it. It's a little over 2 minutes, but it's worth it. Got a new tone to it, and I think you guys are gonna like it.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Roll it.
When a badass yeti from the white tribe, the guardians rise. Your key, the Zaman wallet, your fate on the chain. Yeti, the guardian. Seven elders, trident raised to the sky. White fur gleams like frozen snow, eyes burn with ancient light. He guards the lore of ages, the truth the tribes defend. No shadow passes the guardians, their watch will never end. He feels the pulse of mountain stone, of our frost carved into bone. No crown, no throne, no mortal claim. Only the duty, only the name. They guard the elders bound by might. The eternal flame of
Getting some good feedback on the tune, man. Love the blues vibe right there.
Was it?
I like that.
The kick-ass one.
Yeah. That beat drop change though, nice. Also, the bigger Yeti was nice. When will that be available? It's available now. There's only 7 elders, and that's one of the elders. So the elders, yeah, and the guardians basically are the ones that look after the elders. And then at some point, when one of the elders go, you have another one ascends to become an elder. So that's the tribe. The elders look over the white tribe. There are no elders in the blue tribe. So like you said, every one of these the blue tribe, the white tribe are very different, and then they have multiple clans between them. And yeah, we spent way too much time on this, and authoring a video game, but we're getting close, man. AI is coming very, very close. We'll be able to potentially get this working the way we always envisioned it. So it's really great to see that we're getting closer, right, Jeff? I liked it. Just waiting for the album.
Getting a little video.
Well, good. You can
little video clips and also, yeah.
I'm still gonna have my listening party at some point. Maybe this week I'll do the listening party, but yeah, I put out an album of AI tunes where I took my lyrics and I basically took my lyrics and then I put them to music and I created a fictional band out of Manchester, Ardwick, Manchester, UK, because it's got that northern sort of sound, Manchester sound. So I've already put a lot of time and effort into that, and so I got a full album out there, available on Spotify, wherever you get your music, Apple Music, whatever. But so I think you got to do that at some point. The Yetiverse.
The Yetiverse. The Yetiverse. That's about it.
The Yetiverse, something like that. Yeah, where you'll be able to. And the cool thing is AI can probably generate real new stuff like on the fly too. That's what's going to be really great about it. But we're getting there. It's getting technologies there. We have 9 entries into the Yeti already, which is fantastic. So I'm glad to hear that. I saw this meme right here, Jeff, and I cracked up because sometimes the things that are very true really sort of like hit you hard right in the face. That's why comedy can be funny, because sometimes it's true. In this case, Trump just showed the world that Hamas is easier to negotiate with than the Democrats. Let that sink in. So unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it goes. I mean, man, Sundays are interesting because they have these Sundays shows that happen here in the U.S. They're usually a half hour, an hour, and they'll always try to interview people from the administration, whatever the government's in power. They'll try to do some, they'll interview people, but these shows are so silly, Jeff, half the time. Some of the stuff that you see, but JD Vance, the vice president here in the U.S., was on one of the ABC programs, and I forget what they're called. They're all basically stuff. Meet the Depressed is one of them. What are some of the other ones?
Meet the Depressed.
I don't even know. They're all bad. Whatever. Meet the Press. It's supposed to be, but Meet the Depressed, because they're always depressed. But JD was on, and this is how it went with George Stephanopoulos. And if you guys remember, Trump sued George Slopadopoulos, as he calls him, for saying stuff that was not true, and he won $16 million lawsuit from ABC. I feel like another lawsuit's in the process. Let's listen in.
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
Look at the anger. Look at the anger. This is when you know you've been had. This right here is a hack.
Oh, miserable.
And the reason I think he looks like that, because he realizes another lawsuit incoming. And if you keep losing $16 million, these lawsuits, and selling for $16 million, $15, $20 million, this guy's out of a job. This guy's a has-been. This guy was a has-been from the time he worked in the Clinton administration. He's a partisan hack. And he asked him, first of all, you had Kash Patel come out and say, there's no truth to this story. These tapes aren't even real. Where are you coming with these tapes? So it was a complete setup again. And Tom Homan, if you look at his conviction, you think Tom Homan's blown his whole life over $50,000, and that bribe was supposed to be from him not doing his job of rounding up illegals. But it's convenient how it comes out, and they supposedly set him up in November, wanted to meet with him. This is an FBI asset. This is the FBI that set him up. So they got some, you know how easy it is to fake some tapes. So sure, Tom Homan's this, and this is what this guy's asking about. Peace in the Middle East? No, Jeff, no time for that. China threatening critical supply chains? Nah, not a problem. George Slopadopoulos doesn't really care about any of that. They're looking for the gotcha. That's why nobody really wants to go on these shows. They don't ask any questions. It's just insanely pathetic the way it's treated, Jeff.
That's right. And then there's always this, because we see how the different administrations can negotiate or not negotiate. Obama, let's negotiate. Terrorists, I'll blow shit up. Biden, let's negotiate. Terrorists, I'll blow shit up. Trump, I'll blow shit up. Terrorists, let's negotiate.
That's pretty much how it goes. And here's Lindsey Graham, which, let's face it, he's a rhino. I'm not a big fan of him. Every once in a while, he'll stand up for something in the administration, but for the most part, he's, there's a reason that Rush Limbaugh used to call him Lindy Grahamnesty, because he was always for amnesty for illegals. He just doesn't fit the profile of what we expect. The MAGA movement versus the old school Republicans. Most of them are losers anyway. But here he is on one of these talk shows.
I think that crosses a line between the Justice Department being independent from the executive branch.
I think our Justice Department in the hands of Biden crossed every line there is to cross. I think within 3 days of announcing he was going to run for president in 2024, he did that in 2022.
But what about Trump?
He had
but Senator, what about
indictments.
Trump? What about
Trump? What about Trump? What about Trump? You're not reporters anymore.
What about
partisan hats?
Look at that look. Look at
what
that
about Trump?
look.
What about Trump? This girl's had her ass handed to her so many times she doesn't even know what. What about Trump? What about Trump? What about Trump?
Now, I think the grand jury is going to take care of this, but you didn't care any about this. You didn't care that Letitia James made up charges that no one's ever faced.
But Senator Biden never publicly called for Trump to be indicted.
He had 90. Biden regretted that they didn't do it before the election. Jack Smith surveilled my phone records and 8 other senators. Jack Smith introduced his brief against Trump October the 24th before the 2024 election, violating every protocol just to politicize the election. So this may bother you that people are being held accountable. It doesn't bother me one damn bit.
Every once in a while, Lindsey something, he gets a little spark and he comes around and starts
fired up.
Every once in a while, but it's like there's like 10% of the time versus the 90% of the time when he's acting like a complete asshat. There's just not enough. Every once in a while, he gets a dig in there somewhere.
When he gets that spark, though.
He gets the spark. Jeff, I mean, you talk about what's going on in the rest of the world. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, which, Laura Loomer's exposed about a year plus ago, saying that she's not on the team. She does all this stuff. So here she is on a podcast. Listen to what she says here.
Conservative, and as a business owner in the construction industry, and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that. Right. So, and I'm going to get pushback on that, but I'm just living in reality from here on out.
Yeah.
And if anybody's mad at me for saying the truth, then I'm sorry.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, ladies and gentlemen, our next president.
No, probably won't be reelected next time.
No.
So first of all, so what does she say here, Jeff? I own a construction company and I hire illegals, and so let's not round up the people who work for my construction company because they work for slave wages. Is that what I heard? And let's not get in line with
what you just heard
with the Republican, the whole Republican mantra, which is let's get rid of the illegals. That's what Trump ran on. That's why he has a mandate, and that's why people are thrilled. You got guys like Mark Benioff, who's not a Trump supporter, saying, can you bring troops into San Francisco? We have a massive epidemic of drugs here. We have it's out of control. So a guy like Mark Benioff, who's, he's the CEO of Salesforce. I mean, this is a guy saying, telling Trump, can you come to San Francisco next? And what's happening by doing all this, Jeff, is they're proving that it's not that difficult to clean up the crime if you want to clean up the crime. And what's happening is they're upstaging these mayors and these governors, showing that it can be done. Washington, D.C. is one of the safest city, one from being the most dangerous city in the U.S. to being one of the safest cities. they stopped doing those man on the street interviews. They started just random people, and they're like, no, we love it. We can actually, I don't have to be worried when I'm at a stoplight and someone comes up to my window. I don't have to be, freaking out that I'm going to make it home okay. Like, it's super safe. So this whole thing is what it's showing is that they never wanted to clean up the problem. And half of these cities have got a bloated police force. Look what happened in Portland. You had call for backup to the local police, and they didn't come. They didn't respond. And first of all, that's breaking their basic tenet. You're always supposed to help federal authorities if you get called in as backup. And so this is what's going on with these partisan hacks. You don't come in and give backup. Man, it's damn. But watch this, Jeff. Watch this. This is what. Let's see another part of this interview. Watch this. This is what really happened.
Realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that
there goes
needs
the sombrero.
to be a smarter plan.
There goes the mustache and the trumpet. You gotta love that.
As a realist, I can say we have to do something.
If anything
about
else,
labor,
AI is
and
great
that
for
needs
this.
to be
She puts
a
on the
smarter
sombrero,
plan than
puts
just
on her mustache, and starts blowing the trumpet. I mean, it's pretty much spot on.
It's so off. It's so out of control. Yeah, it's so out of control at this point. Considering that we need to. There's illegals in this country. There's they're not meant to be here. Either we have a rule of law or we don't.
Your mic just went out, Jeff. Jeff, your mic is out. I don't hear you. Your microphone is out.
You can't hear me?
Oh, no,
you don't hear me at all?
I do. Now it's back. It was so funny when you were talking. I couldn't hear you. And you said, you don't hear me. And then it was back. I was like, that's weird. Say something.
That's weird. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, we do.
Something.
It's not matching up with your...
No, you can hear me?
Can, but it's delayed.
I don't understand what happened. I reloaded Crisp. I installed a new version of it. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't really know.
My audio mixer doesn't make any sense.
Look at this right here. Here's Kelly Slade says...
My microphone check.
A friend of mine's grandson is moving back to Central Florida because LA's gotten so out of hand. A bunch of his friends have gone.
And then Crisp doesn't work.
No, it's kind of weird.
Crisp. Do you hear me?
I do hear you, but
you can't hear me.
I hear you.
Can you hear me now? No, what about now?
I don't see your lips moving. You're like frozen or something. It's delayed.
I don't understand it.
10 or 12 seconds. So I don't know what's happening there. Look at this. Chad's right. YouTube has found new ways to mess with you. Absolutely. Well, I'm not going to blame YouTube for this. It could be it's only happening to Jeff, but it usually happens. It used to happen to me a lot too. So there's something going on with, you might have toggled Kung Fu mode. Did you toggle Kung Fu mode again, Jeff, by mistake?
I think I might have.
I knew it. I knew there was something going on, man. Yeah, the American people are watching kindergarten, elementary politics. This is what they accept. This is crazy. XRP Cafe. It's ridiculous. So what are you gonna do, man? Watch what happens if you point lasers at President Trump's helicopter.
Okay, available. We have somebody hitting us with a laser up here at 929 16th Street West. Truck, keep going forward, keep going forward.
So this is calling in from Trump's presidential helicopter. Somebody was shining lasers up there, which is illegal.
House on your driver's side now. Should be a little car in the driveway and then a four-door sedan.
Yeah, we got the laser. We see it.
Looks like he's still standing on the back porch.
Turn around. Come here. Police department, turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
What?
Put the cigarette
what
up.
is happening?
Put the cigarette up. Keep your hands where I can see them.
No, what?
What?
Come
inside. Come inside.
Did he have the laser in his hand when he came around the corner?
No, four in his hand. It was on.
In his hand.
and it was on.
All right, 10-4. Appreciate your help.
Great job, sir. Thank you.
That's a good F around find out moment right there, Jeff.
And then there's this one, Chip. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me play this.
I do.
All right. Look at that.
Bam.
That's Antifa blocking the feds. Finally, they're taking appropriate action in Portland. You got to love this. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, they're not messing around, man. I mean, look, they were told, they were warned, and you're gonna get arrested. That's it. And it's a felony. Terrorist organization.
And now this should have happened. This should have happened, 4 or 5 years ago. They let them run amok. The media and the Biden administration painted a fake picture of the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys were the only ones that were on the front lines taking on Antifa. The police were standing down. The police were getting bombarded, with fireworks, and they were getting injured on a regular basis. And then the Proud Boys stepped up, city over city over city. And it was amazing watching. I remember watching everything unfold with the Proud Boys as they were taking on Antifa. Then all of a sudden there was this huge initiative saying they were racist and all this stuff. And it was the furthest from the truth. It was a mixed group of people in the Proud Boys, first and foremost. And they were out there protecting the civilians against the foot soldiers that belonged to the Democrat Party. So the Antifa and the BLM movement were the foot soldiers exactly for the Democrat Party. However they want to, try to connect the dots, are not 100% connected to them. And that they gave them the permission, they gave them authorization, they put them on the streets, they protected them, revolving circus in the court system that put them back out on the streets. What one thing led to the next thing, led to the next thing. What the Democrats were trying to do was take away safety and security. If you have no safety and security in the streets, you're easily manipulated. Look at Venezuela, look at other countries that became less and less and less secure to be on the streets. You couldn't go to a bank ATM. You had to have bodyguards. If you're walking down the street, depending on your socioeconomic status, they would bring the most impoverished, and they would put them into wealthy communities, and they bring crime to the wealthy communities. They did all that on purpose. They're all following the exact same rule book. And now we're finally seeing what should have been happening a number of years ago. It's finally taking place. Thank goodness. Here in this country. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. All right. I thought I had a problem with my sound, but I must have muted myself by mistake. But the Proud Boys, remember, that was a lot of the ones who went into the Capitol building. And again, they were invited in. It wasn't like they broke in; they were invited in. And so what I was laughing about was they're calling them they're white supremacists and everything. And even Rico Tardio, who's the leader, he's like, wait, they were calling him a white supremacist. Clearly not a white guy. So it's the weird thing. It's like, he's Latino, and they're calling him you're still a racist. You're a racist white guy. I don't know. The whole thing is crazy to me. But the new narrative, Jeff, when Trump started talking about the whole thing about being, the Antifa being classified as a terrorist group. This is the new narrative. Check this out. According to the left, there is no Antifa, Jeff. Listen to this.
Antifa, this is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa.
Like, I don't even know what Antifa is. There is no group.
It's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. Compared to right-wing extremists, Antifa-linked violence is rare and limited.
It isn't an organization. It is in many ways mythology.
It's not like the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers, sort of defined terrorist organizations with leadership that leads violence.
It's not a highly organized movement. It's a moniker. It's not a unified group like the Proud Boys are. Things like Antifa are things that are thought up.
It's all in this guise of going after Antifa, which is nothing. There's no organization called Antifa.
Nobody's a member of Antifa because it doesn't exist. They are just declaring into existence something that doesn't exist.
There is no Antifa organization, so maybe that's good for social media. But it really is non-existent.
They exist on the internet in chat rooms and in 4chan and Discord and places like that, where they run discussion boards, trade tactics, documents, things like that. But none of them are called Antifa.
The beauty of this is that as soon as it's labeled a domestic terrorist organization, anybody who gives them financial assistance or any assistance, which the media has done, each one of them are guilty of abetting a terrorist organization. Each and every one of those, the media representatives, and now they're protecting them again. So they're actually doubling down on their defense and protection of a terrorist organization. That's all that needs to be said. So now it'll be interesting to see what does the federal government do. They're now supporting or at least protecting a terrorist entity, and they're claiming that it doesn't exist, where they already gave them the support and tried to cover up for them. But it's interesting. They're all reading the exact same written narrative. They're 100% all, they're not just complacent, but they're complicit, complacent and complicit. 100% spot on.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Exactly.
They're all complacent. Yeah, they all. And so speaking of terrorist groups,
and there you go.
Is this a
perfect example?
Prime example, the media being controlled to push a narrative. Absolutely. So that they got the 3 a.m. talking points.
They're reading it.
Basically, it's all the same thing. Because they're
all pathetic.
They all mentioned the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. Not like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. Like, sure, that wasn't planned.
Right.
So, Jeff, speaking of a terrorist organization, look what rolled out in Toronto. This might shock you and surprise you, but knowing how far gone Canada is, maybe it won't. Look at
Canada.
Farsi or English?
They're saying Farsi or English, which is, obviously what they speak in Iran. And they're going to unveil something. They're saying Farsi or English. Here we go.
Farsi, ready. Yay!
Okay. Ready? Here we go. What are we going to unveil? So there's the famous Yonge Street in Toronto, but if you can't read what it says there, it says Little Iran. They opened up a district called Little Iran. Are you kidding me?
Little Persia, I get it. Little Iran. These people, look at the smiles. They're so fucking stupid. The mentality of the Canadians are just they're upside down. I mean, I would be embarrassed. I'd be completely embarrassed to be a Canadian. Honestly, their government is so upside down, stupid. When's the revolution? That's what I want to know.
Revolution.
When are the people? When are the people going to take their country back? It's too late. It's way too late. The percentage of population of all the illegals that are there that are coming to take over has already far exceeded 10% of the population. It's too late. Canada's
already
done.
too late.
Thank God. We have a huge border with Canada. Where we need the wall, we need it along Canada. We need a huge wall along Canada and let them stay in Canada. They need us more than we need them. I hate to say it. I love Canada. I love, the people in Canada. Love the people from Canada, but man, you guys invited that. I don't even know what to say. It's too dangerous for us. It's super dangerous for our country, considering, the types of people that they have there. They're here too, but we're getting rid of them. What we should do is just send them to Canada. We'll build like a huge wall and send them all to Canada.
There's
a lot of space.
Jeff. I like the sound of that. Look at we have 10 entries into this. Jeff, roll the video again, and then we only have 11. So you got to type in Yeti if you want a chance to win. Go ahead and roll that awesome video, and then we'll go ahead, come back and do the drawing.
Where's the video? Here we go. All right, this is about 2 minutes of 52 seconds of video.
Here we go, guys. Type in Yeti.
There's a great song. Let's listen to this awesome song. We only hear the song twice, and then that's it. We got a couple that we're going to turn into that we're going to mint into NFTs, and then we'll be giving them away. But all right, here we go. This is Keepers of the 7 Guardians of the White Tribe. So, here we go.
A badass yeti. From the white tribe, the guardians rise. Your key, the Zaman wallet. Your faith on the chain. Yeti, the guardian. The 7 elders tried and raised to the sky. White fur gleams like frozen snow. Eyes burn with ancient light. He guards the lore of ages, the truth the tribes defend. No shadow passes the guardians. Their watch will never end. He feels the pulse of mountain stone, of our frost carved into bone. No crown, no throne, no mortal claim
That was good.
Damn.
Bluesy. Boom, boom. I'm going to see my head
Bluesy.
pop up and down to that. That was fantastic. All right, guys. Well, I love this too. By the way, I want to give a big shout out to Chad Nauseum, because he basically took the advice. He brought a friend. He brought in Bob. Bob typed in Yeti, and so he maybe doesn't have the wallet. Chad says, I got you, Bob. So that's it. So if Bob wins, we got you. That's how it is. That's what you do for friends, man. You make sure you back them up, you get their back, and that's how it works. That's how it works. There we go. Mel Carmine, hundreds of shows. That's cool. That's something cool we should talk about. It's all about censorship. And dear Mr. President,
Right.
We'll figure something out in the future, Mel. We'll talk about that. It's a phenomenal project. I don't know if it's been to Trump's desk yet or not, but something we got to chat about. So anyway, guys, let's pull this thing. Let's go ahead and get this thing ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and pull it. We don't need music. Let's get this done quick.
Oh, wait.
Here we go.
Let's get it going. Hang on.
Oh, geez. Now you're slow. Oh, now you're slowing it down. There we go. Here we go. We got 13 in here. Lucky number 13. Let's see. Who's going to win a Badass Yeti today? Let's go. There it is. Who's going to win? Who is it going to be? Uh-oh. I see on the chain in there. Not good.
Uh-oh.
Boom. John Doe wins.
John Doe. Crypto.
John Doe. OG in the space. John Doe. Are you still here? We got to, first thing you got to say is, I am here.
Rigged.
It's rigged. It's rigged. It's yigged. Let me know when you do a show. Guys. Yeah. It's rigged. It's yigged. All right, guys. We got to hear from John Doe. I hope you're still here, John Doe.
John
Doe. Where are you, John Doe?
John Doe was here recently at 9:17.
Yeah, I don't know if he's here. We got to hear it.
Question is, he's still here. Is John Doe here? Rigged. Come on.
Rigged.
John Doe. John Doe. John Doe. That was a rug pull. Osman was gunning for that one. Wanted the Guardian. This is a kick-ass Guardian, too. This isn't just any Guardian. Start the 30-second counter. We should do a 30-second countdown. We used to have one, but deleted it because we don't use it.
We don't need that. We don't need it. I didn't buy in the fire sale. No, I didn't look. I don't even look at the price anymore. I don't care. Someone will wake me up when it hits $4. When other things hit all-time highs, I'll be happy.
Uh-oh.
Bathroom
No
break,
John Doe. No John Doe. John Doe calling
John
once.
Doe's not here.
Let's type it in just in case he's behind re-listening.
Yeah.
But I got to go to YouTube to do it. Hang on a minute. View on YouTube. I'm going to have to view on YouTube anyways. It'd make it so much easier if StreamYard would just allow us to. Here we go. Let me go in the chat. John. No. I think he's gone because when I type his name and he's gone. He's not coming up.
Okay, well, you missed it then. That's fine. You missed out.
Reroll.
That means, you know what that means? Roll again.
Roll again.
Guys, let's go. Here we go. Let's go. Boom. Let's go. Who's going to be? Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? Here it comes. Pop, 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 pop. Boom. On the chain line.
Yay, we win. Game over.
Somehow you typed in Yeti there. I don't know what you did. Here we go. And it was Mo Meta was right there on the right next to it too.
All right. Winner.
Someone, I don't know why you must have typed in Yeti.
I might have.
Chad wins. Look at that. How
Chad
about
just
that?
win.
Chad Nauseum wins. Chad is here. Because you said it was double rigged.
Double rigged.
We double rigged it for you, man.
Triple rigged.
All right, Chad. Well, you know the drill.
What
man.
about Bob? What about
Bob? What
Bob's
about
there.
Bob? Bob who? I don't know. I forgot all about Bob already. It was only a Bob one. So go ahead and woohoo. Bob says woohoo.
Bob is
I
still
got
here.
you. That's what he said. He says, I got you, Bob. That's what he said.
Is Chad here?
That's what he said.
Oh, it goes to Bob.
Got
Look at
you,
that.
Bob.
Well, you know
All
what that means.
Bob's a winner.
Bob needs we need a Zaman wallet address.
Yeah, we need a Zaman wallet. And if Bob doesn't have it, then Chad, we can give it to Chad and he can
Chad, then
help
we'll
Bob
give it
get
to
set
Chad
up.
and Chad
Bob,
can
you
help
need to
out.
let us know if you have a Zaman wallet.
You have a Zaman wallet.
We need to know.
Zaman.
We need to know.
The Zaman.
The Zaman wallet. So let's do this in the interim while we are waiting for that. This is pretty
there we go.
good.
All right,
there we
Chad.
go. Give it to Chad. You get.
Hang on
All right,
a minute.
while you're doing that,
You can get it.
Letitia James smooths things over by sending Trump a heartfelt "Sorry, I maliciously prosecuted you" card. Look at that. Incredible. Sorry. Of course, the Babylon Bee never misses. So you can imagine. So what else would you imagine about that? Well, Trump did the right thing because he.
All right, Chad.
He said this is fair. He set Letitia James bail at $355 million. There you have it. There you have it.
Fair is fair. What's fair is fair.
I don't know where your earlier message is, Osman. I couldn't find it.
Read my earlier message. That's what happened to John. He went to the bathroom. He had a bathroom break.
So here we go. We got NFL bows the pressure.
All right, here we go. Here we go, Chad.
Do the halftime show.
Chad, it's on its way. Oh, that would be awesome. Hopefully he's better.
Yeah.
Here comes Chad. It's verifying. And it's done. That's it. Submitted successfully. 0.000012. And that's it. You now own Badass Yeti number 76, Chad or Bob. Bob, that's pretty exciting. This is your first Badass Yeti NFT. Chad's going to help you get all set up with that. There it is right there. Badass Yeti 76. It's a really good number. There's his properties. He's a guardian, one of the guardians. Look at that. Look how badass this guy is.
Man, that's super badass, dude.
Guy's
freaking badass as hell.
Look at that guy.
Yeah, I did see Trump post about med beds. I saw him delete it too. He reposts a lot of stuff that people post. Doesn't mean anything. When I see the med beds, I'll believe it. Hitler brought peace to Israel. It's a picture of Trump. They call him Hitler. Imagine that. Hitler brought peace to Israel. How about that, huh, Jeff? And this is weird, Jeff. It looks like the UK police is still searching for a motive of a terrorist named Jihad Jew Killer. By the way, the guy that did that, the killing at the mosque up, or the synagogue in Manchester for Yom Kippur, his name translates into Jihad, his first name. So there you go.
His name was Jihad.
His name was Jihad. That's all the time we got, Jeff. You want to say anything before we get out of here?
That's it. But we will be back Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right. Be back 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned for tomorrow's morning or later tonight, big day, as the hostages are being sent home. 20 alive, 28 deceased, or 28 alive, 20 deceased, and they're going to be returning them. And so that's a lot to celebrate over in Israel. They finally 2 years, they're getting them back. And we'll be back here with you guys at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. And we can talk a little bit about some of those reunions, how that went.
Awesome.
They came home, which will be really cool.
That's it. So that's all the time we have, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Chad, for bringing a friend. We love that. Guys, help. This is the best way word of mouth works. If you want to bring people and introduce them to the show, people that are like-minded, appreciate that.
Chad did it.
Chad took the assignment. I appreciate that. It's right. We had nothing to do with his winning, but it was rightful that he run. Just saying.
That's right. That's right. Everybody bring a friend. Now, that's how it works. That's the big statement. Bring a friend to the next show. Have a friend tune in. That's it.
Or have one of your neighbors you don't like tune in. They'll love us or hate us. There you go. We're an acquired taste. Not for everybody, but that's how it works. See you guys.
I wish I had a friend to bring.
Well, make a friend. Make a friend.
That's right. Make a friend.
You got tons of friends over here. So anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.